straight into the bagpipes. Here we go. Our Twitch fantasy music is here. Welcome everybody to Art Jam. I'm Josh Herman. Below me is Alex Alvarez. Hello, Alex.
Hello. Happy Wednesday afternoon to you.
Happy Wednesday indeed.
Yeah, somehow it's already another week.
Another week flying by.
But we just had a long phone call like a couple hours ago, so now I'm like, all right, we're caught up.
We're warmed up, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously we talked about campus being reopened.
Oh, totally.
And you finally having your classes.
Yeah, in-person classes because I was not available to be in person the previous week, and yeah, it was nice to see people, nice to meet people, nice to see and I guess meet people that I had taught on stream, not really on stream, on Zoom for the previous year and a half before that, and getting to meet them in person was really great.
Yeah, it's so awesome to see people on campus again.
Yeah, absolutely, it's super cool. Nice to be back for sure.
So yeah, no, I guess it's like aside from wearing masks, everything feels pretty normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice. It's just great to be back.
And then now we're back in here.
So, yeah, you're back on your project.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start working on this, dude. I haven't had a lot of time over the last week to work on this, so I think all I managed to do was, like last week I sculpted the ground,
mm-hmm.
and then I needed to texture it, so I had to figure out how to do layered materials and textures in Unreal.
Mm-hmm.
So I managed to get that working. So like now if I go in here, then at least the ground is now textured.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, again, it still needs to be set dressed. It's just a base texture, but at least I've got like 3 layered textures with a mask between the layers, so it's easy to change them also.
So you did a mask, not vertex blend?
Yeah, because I wanted to create the masks in Mixer.
Right.
And so, yeah, I wanted to be able to use Mixer as a way to preview how I would tile and layer materials, and then use the masks generated through like the normal and curvature masks in Mixer and bring those into Unreal,
mm-hmm.
as opposed to like manually vertex painting, which would be a lot rougher.
Right.
So hello, Janella J. Yeah,
hello.
I modeled all of this stuff. I didn't make these characters; those are going to get replaced. But yeah, I've been building this environment over the last few streams, and it's sort of getting there. I just wish I had more time between streams to make more progress, but I do have this spire in here now.
That's cool.
It's got some fire inside it, which is kind of cool.
I like that.
So that I'm going to end up having to replace with Niagara, because that's Cascade Fire.
Right.
I'm using Unreal right now, but all of this stuff is blocked out in Maya. So earlier I was in Maya. So yeah, now that I've got this one spire in here, but I don't know yet also, like, are they going to be stone or metal? Like right now I put like a metal material on it, which I think might be cool.
I like the metal.
It's just cool because it's such a dark scene that you'll get cool highlights.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I did end up turning off ray tracing on my sunlight just so I could get volumetric fog working correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Volume fog doesn't like ray traced shadows.
Yeah, you were saying there was some weirdness with that.
It's just if you have ray trace shadows on your light, it's not going to create fog, and I really wanted the fog to be volumetric. Just because like I can see here, just like this point light that I've got right here. Like if you don't have volumetric, like let me just boost it. It's at 50. If I put it to like 300, like that glow, like that volumetric fog glow. Need volumetric fog for that.
Right.
So basically now I'm kind of figuring out the balance. Like I really don't need ray tracing for the shadows. What I really need it for is the reflection in the water. So right now that's really like the main thing. That's
yeah.
That needs
very different.
Yeah. So I think for today I'm going to start thinking about this structure and probably go into ZBrush. I don't know.
Not sure.
Janella, this is not for a game. This is just for fun. So just building out an environment. As I'm still learning Unreal, so like this is like an exercise for me to get comfortable with Unreal. And so I did a project, this thing called the Unreal Fellowship, but a lot of the stuff in that project, because we had little time, was kit bashed. So for this environment, I want to just make everything myself. So so all the rocks and the environment, everything is modeled and sculpted by me. And then I'm going to bring plants in here, but again, like instead of using Megascans plants, I'll make my own. I just want to like really understand with Unreal how to do everything from scratch. And that's what I'm doing.
Nice.
And then what about you?
I'm working on Batman. I started a Batman head several streams ago. So I just spent a little bit of time just now polishing it up pre-stream. So I'm just kind of tightening the sculpt and the design up just a little bit from before to after. And then I think I'm going to put in a body today and then maybe a cape just to kind of block that all out and, you know, just get a full character going. So I did already import. I'm going to save it just because I imported the body that I'm going to use, which was also from another thing I sculpted on stream. But it's definitely not the right size, so it's a little comedic right now. It's a little off and a little too ripped. So this is I'm basically taking this mesh and then I'm gonna warp it into place or readjust the proportions. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, is just twisting this stuff all around. It was on this character here, which kind of was like a Beta Ray Bill character, if anybody knows who that is, or you know, a more pushed, stylized body. But yeah, so now I'm putting that sculpt on this character, and I'm gonna have to tone it down quite a bit. Are you using a regular mouse? I think we're both using tablets. I'm using an Intuos Pro.
Yeah, me too. Well, I'm using a mouse right now, Bill, but switching between a mouse and a tablet. If I go into ZBrush, I'll end up definitely switching to the tablet.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna kill this.
Griffin the other day was ZBrushing with the mouth, and I was just like, "Don't you want a tablet?" He's like, "No, I'm all right."
Yeah, he told me that. He was like, I didn't mind it. I was like, huh. I actually don't mind it sometimes if I'm only using the move tool.
Yeah, move tool, or just like, you know, direct, you know, like just dragging stamps on the model where you just click dragging and you're not really sculpting. Mm-hmm. Which I do a lot of, actually. Dragging alphas all over a model.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be an awkward time for a little bit with this character. I think I don't know if I chose the wrong base mesh, but this is just going to take a lot more work than I expected it to. I don't think I have anything that's just like more human at the moment, so it's going to be a minute. It's all right, though. I think I need to put the neck in there. I think metal. I think that big thing could be cool being metal, just being like, you know, a big contrast to that space.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, it's really just the roughness map. So it's like I can even texture it so it's stone or metal and just use the same and just adjust the shader.
Right.
So I don't know if I really need to be too concerned.
Right.
Just don't know if I want to go into ZBrush without sort of figuring out what I want this thing to look like.
Fair. That's fair.
I could do a paint over.
Do you do paint overs of your own work very often?
I have, definitely. So, I mean, it's just the fastest way to figure out what to do with something.
Yeah.
break this thing into pieces. Were there a lot of people camping this weekend?
At the site we were at, there was not. There was only one other group or two other groups in a site that had 8 sites or 8 campsites available. So not at least where we were. Which was kind of nice though to have that area all to ourselves.
That's cool.
Or mostly to ourselves.
I mean, I guess technically it's still camping season. It's not really too cold. But Griffin went camping up by like Big Bear a couple weeks ago and it got down to like 30 at night.
Oof. Yeah, that could be cold.
Yeah. Anything above 40 I'm fine with, but below 40, yeah. I just don't have the right clothes for it.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just being prepared for it. Hello, Marlon. Welcome. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Marlon. Hello, Danny.
You're 23 years old. Sebly 2098 from Twitch says you're 23 years old and you just recently became interested in 3D animation. Do you think that is a good time to start?
For sure.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Average age of a Gnomon student is 23.
Yep.
So yeah, we've got students that are 19, we've got students that are 50. So there is no right age. It's really just finding what you're into and obsessing over it. Yep. So I think that you're definitely in the sort of average age bracket for it. Like, you know, most people in their early 20s are still trying to figure out what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think 23 is kind of how old I was when I
was just going to say,
sort of starting to fully focus on it.
I think when I started at Gnomon, I think I was 22 or 23. It was very close.
Yeah. Okay, this needs to get broken up into different pieces.
Yeah, great time. Good time to start, for sure.
Yeah, it's funny how, like, the perspective of our perception of how old one is constantly changes. And the idea that, like, you know, a 23-year-old or a 30-year-old will be like, oh my God, I'm old, I'm 30. And then a 40-year-old will be like, please. And then a 70-year-old will be like, come on.
Yeah, children, calm down, yeah.
Yeah.
It is funny how that plays, or how that kind of works.
It's all relative. My uncle just turned 90.
Wow.
So that's awesome.
Yeah. That's cool. Danny Rayner from YouTube asks, would memorizing mostly or all software shortcuts put you ahead of the curve in a pipeline?
Memorizing shortcuts definitely makes you faster.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that makes you faster is a good thing, is valuable. And so like I definitely used to obsess over anything I could do to make myself faster. So hotkeys, shortcuts is a big one.
Yeah.
And I used to be really good about learning those in software. And I definitely know a bunch of them in like Maya, Photoshop, ZBrush. Yeah, because it definitely makes you faster. Like I know that when, like we were talking about Vitali and his 10 days of Mex thing, and he was like literally had a stopwatch on his desk, timing himself to try and get as fast as possible at doing certain tasks. And when you're literally like that obsessive about getting faster, that you actually have a stopwatch, because he was wanting to become back when a lot of concept artists were still 2D and he wanted to be a 3D concept artist, he knew that to compete with the 2D people, he had to be as fast as possible.
Right.
And that was like his big motivation with the 10 days of mechs thing, was to prove like, hey, I can design a mech in a day and have a 3D render of it. So that's where like something like a hotkey, like you might be like, it's going to just save you like 4 seconds. But if you're digging into a menu 100 times a day and you could shave 3 seconds off that action, that's 300 seconds. And that's actually several minutes.
Right.
So it sounds a little crazy, but it's like, it makes a difference.
It can. Yeah, it totally can. I'm a big hotkey fan. I always was. I didn't, Maya is mostly marking menus, or at least that's the way that it primarily gets to its shortcuts, or did. But I always just set up my own hotkeys for whatever functions I needed. Still do. And I just use them all the time. I do it in ZBrush too. Whatever I need, I just make my own hotkeys for that, or find what the existing ones are and memorize them, because I do think it can make you a lot faster, and it just saves you a lot of time over like you're saying, hours or days or weeks, not digging through a menu or doing it the old-fashioned way where you go up into a menu. Will save you a good amount of time for sure.
Hello, sir. It's nice to see some familiar faces in here.
Hello, hello.
Alex F1, hello. Going well?
Hello. Doing good. Thank you.
We're seeing Dune next week.
Oh yeah, on Tuesday. I'm excited to do it.
Exciting.
Should be fun.
Yeah,
Comes out officially on Friday, right?
I don't know. That sounds right.
I think so.
ZBrush homepage, just a Squid Game tutorial from Michael Pavlovich, of course.
Of course, Squid Game. Did you watch Squid Game?
We have 2 episodes left.
Okay.
But it's funny, I like Googled Squid Game costume, and of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
it's amazing already. Like Amazon's full.
Yeah, there's so many. Were you going to be one?
I mean, it's an easy costume.
It's super easy. Either you can just get the tracksuit suit or you can get the mask suit. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, Halloween is going to be full of it.
But the show's pretty cool. It's different than I was
like it.
expecting.
Oh, really?
So, well, just because people made comparisons to like Battle Royale or so
Oh, sure.
So I didn't know if is this show just going to be like nonstop action? So the fact that there is story and character development and a dramatic component to it, it's actually it's much better than I was expecting. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked it.
You finished the whole thing?
Yeah, we finished it late last week.
Okay.
Oh, you're in ZBrush.
Yeah, I'm debating. I think I'll probably be in here. Let's see, where's that structure? Open that up. Pathway.
Do you recommend Blender as a good way to start, or would it be better to focus on Maya/Unreal?
I mean, if you're totally new to 3D, I would say probably start with Blender. Because Blender and Maya are both, what would be considered like generalist apps where you can do a little bit of everything in them. Unreal isn't that. Unreal's more a game engine that is like scene assembly, meaning like you're not really modeling things from scratch in Unreal. So since most people with 3D start off learning, the interface, but then like learning modeling and then learning texturing and then learning lighting, it's better to do that in a program like, Maya or Blender. And since Blender's free, then I think that's why it's become so popular with hobbyists.
Yeah, there's also a lot of good free resources online, good tutorials and stuff to follow. So I would agree. If you're brand new, you want to explore, start with Blender. Honestly, mostly for the cost. That would be my biggest reason to tell somebody that.
Yeah. Because, I don't know what Maya costs these days for the subscription, but I know it's not cheap.
Yeah.
You heard Blender and Maya are practically the same, just different UI. Well, the same from the perspective of what they are. Generalist 3D program that can do modeling, texturing, animation, etc. Yeah, very different as far as the way certain things are done. But Maya's been around for a really long time, and so it's a very established program with very sophisticated pipeline integration at studios. But when you're just getting started, it's really fine to just begin with Blender and just see if that's something that you even enjoy.
I think that's an important part of it, is if you're just starting out, make sure you like it. So no need to invest heavy dollars into a program like Maya.
Yeah. Then Unreal is a lot of things are actually trickier to do in Unreal than they are in, let's say, Blender or Maya, like materials, for example, and shaders. So to learn the concepts of how materials and shaders work in conjunction with lights, it's actually a little easier to learn some of that stuff in a tool like Blender or Maya. CCZ Rua just said you can get Maya for free using a school account. Well, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's educational licenses for Maya. I think you have to have an EDU or some sort of a way to tell them, basically, that you are going to school. See, a couple of people got some comments here. Danny Rayner is saying at Gnomon, speaking of Dune, Oscar Isaacs is a great choice for Marvel's very own Batman, Moon Knight. Segue. Good call, yeah, as I'm working on my own Batman here. Cypher GR says, would you mind doing an art critique of my portfolio if I send a link? I feel like I'm not creative enough. Would you appreciate any advice? We can actually, if you got in contact with our admissions team, they do free portfolio reviews, and that is more suited towards people who want to get into our programs, but that's probably the best place that we can point you to for that. And then Sam Walton from YouTube says, what would you guys suggest about learning anatomy? Daily drawing, sculpting, or both?
Learning anatomy, I think it's funny because I went to art school where we did 2 years of foundation. I drew characters and superheroes and monsters growing up, basically from comic books and art books and whatever. But when I went to art school, it was 2 years of foundation, meaning figure drawing, 2 years of figure drawing, where you're basically studying anatomy, which was cool. But the thing is, there was no sculpture at the art school that I went to. And personally, I think you learn way faster sculpting than you do drawing. Because with drawing, you're also battling perspective and you're battling shading.
Right.
And with sculpture, you are not. And so I think that sculpting in clay, is a really excellent, doing accrochets and trying to do master studies or, in clay. The thing is, you're really understanding the anatomy of the round because you're constantly looking around in 3 dimensions of sculpture and trying to figure out, insertion points and, what things do from the perspective of the why of anatomy. What is this muscle's function? What is this bone's function? What is this tendon's function? I think with Gnomon, just looking at our sculpture classes, I think people progress faster there
Yeah, I agree.
than they do in like a figure drawing class. So I think if you have a lot of time, then figure drawing is great, and that's kind of the classic way to learn anatomy. But I would suggest trying to sculpt.
Yep, I agree.
Ideally,
I agree. I think sculpting is a fantastic way to learn. If you have the option to do both, do both. I mean, there's no reason not to. Sculpture just teaches you a little bit, in my opinion. Like you're saying, more about the shape. Like you're learning more than just the. I've seen a lot of people get caught up on like the names of the muscles and the bones and all of that stuff, and that is important, to have a good understanding of. But a lot of people get caught up on that and the rendering of it and the perspective of it, and that can get in the way of the learning of the actual material. So I agree there.
Danny asked if you need to add coding skills to your arsenal to adjust with the industry. Depends what you want to do. Generally, no.
Yeah.
If you want to get into effects, smoke, fire, bubbles, water, all that stuff, and eventually you want to get into tools like Houdini, then it's good to have be comfortable with basic high school math, right? But it's not like you're getting into calculus if you're trying to be an artist. For things like rigging, same thing. Like, generally, as long as you are comfortable with basic high school math up to like algebra, basic geometry, that can be useful for rigging purposes. But nothing super complex. Like if you could handle, high school, the problem is most people by the time they're like get into 3D in their 20s have forgotten all of their high school math.
Yeah.
So that's, you kind of like end up having to relearn. But generally, I would say don't worry about it at the moment.
Yeah.
One of our sculpting professors looked exactly like Brad Pitt. Well, I'm sure John Brown would be happy to hear that. Something between like Brad Pitt and like the singer of the Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
That's funny. Amir asked, what materials recommend for sculpting? Clay, plasticine, oil-based clay. Water-based clay is awesome for larger sculptures because it's softer and easier to play with for things that are big. But if you're just doing things that are like, that big, generally, then oil-based clay is the way to go because it doesn't get hard. You don't have to like spray it with water to keep it from drying out and cracking. It'll just stay pliable literally forever.
Yeah.
So oil-based clay. There's also Sculpey, but you'll find that generally oil-based clays like plasticine are the most common clays that have been used in the industry for doing maquettes. And John, speaking of John, has some really good tutorials at the Gnomon Workshop library on that stuff.
And he uses Chavant, Plastiline Chavant, and another one that I like that's an oil-based is Monster Clay. That's a pretty good one as well. It's also oil-based and doesn't dry out. And it comes in a smaller tub you can get, which is pretty good. So what are you building?
I'm working on...
Oh, that little section there.
Yeah, just that little dude.
Nice.
It's just, if I'm going to sculpt it, I just want to make sure that the... It's like this isn't centered in Maya, so like I can't use symmetry. Because like the way I block things out, or everything's off center, so I'll just have to sculpt it.
Right.
Symmetry, which is fine. It's just a simple thing. I just trying to get that edge beveled, so just this thing in ZBrush with that SMT button, so that it keeps the edge just crisp for a couple divisions, and then turn it back on to get a bevel.
Oh yeah, I use that all the time. I actually like to sculpt. Pretty much all of my sculpts I use that on, because at the lowest subdivision level, I just push it as far as I possibly can, and then for the first or one or two subdivision levels, I turn that off, and then I subdivide again, and that gives me kind of like a more planar look, which is easier to sculpt.
Alright, so now do I have enough polygons? Grab an alpha. Nope. Divide, divide. Yeah, that's probably fine.
Well, I blocked out my body enough that I feel like I can start making a bat symbol, or begin to.
Awesome.
So, decently getting in there. Just going to poly paint it in, and then I'll probably mask it and extract it or something, and then we'll start from there. Is this the new Batman? No, this is not specifically the new Batman. Obviously, the new Batman trailer came out, so I was pretty excited about that. I just kind of wanted... I had started ahead several streams ago that I did. I did a stream... It must have been over a couple months ago. 3 months ago, maybe. Where I was doing 6 different sculpts in 3 hours. And so I'd spent 30 minutes on a head, and one of those was a Batman head. And so I opened that up, which was this. And I just spent some time kind of cleaning that up a little bit, and then now adding a body. But no, not specifically the Batman suit.
Didn't they? I think they just released a new trailer for that recently, but I didn't watch it.
Yeah, they came out like a day ago, 2 days ago.
Well,
it was good. I'm excited for it. There's definitely, it seems like there's some mixed opinions online, depending on who you are. I am optimistic about it and hope it's going to be good. I like Robert Pattinson. I think he'll be good.
it's hard to blame the guy for doing Twilight.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, they probably paid him a lot of money to do that really bad movie.
Yeah, to be not super interesting of a character. It is hard. This is a character I've never really made before, oddly enough. And making a bat symbol is actually not as easy as it seems. I can make a good one. There's always... However, it turns out Zoe Kravitz is your new Catwoman. That's good. Do the full chest bat symbol. This one? Like the Dark Knight one? It's the really wide one. I was doing the Batman Hush one for a little while, which is kind of, I think it deleted it, but kind of this one is sort of the Hush one. I think I like this. Or something like this. But yeah, anyways, back to Robert Pattinson. I liked him in everything else he's in. Most of the other things, at least. Did you ever see The King? I think I recommended The King. One with Timothée Chalamet and him, like, I think he's King Henry. Or, well, Robert Pattinson is not King Henry. He's like a French duke or something. I don't remember who he is, but it's pretty interesting. What is this baseline jam we have?
Weird.
Kind of came out of nowhere. Draw how Venom possesses Batman. I mean, that's definitely a what-if scenario, a crossover event, for sure. Alright, so we're going to run with that shape. And then I got to figure out what I'm going to do for his cape. Do you have any tips for sculpting a hand, especially the finger part? This is a poorly sculpted hand because I just smoothed it a lot. The best tips I would have for sculpting a hand is to treat it like little robot parts of the fingers. So basically take each digit and like very clearly define where they'll be moving. Right? So just very simply like I'm doing. Know that where it's going to go and try to keep them pretty square. Even though like they look like they would be a tube, they're actually more like a square with very clear planes on the sides like this. And I think if you just spend a little bit of time over exaggerating that, you'll kind of get these robot-y style fingers, and that's easier to trim down into a more realistic human hand shape. And that will be helpful for you, I think. What would the best way to make this cape be? Like long prisms? Interesting. Yeah, sure. That's an interesting way, I guess, to think about it. Is an animation job required? Oh, I see what your question is. Anime Academia is asking from YouTube, is a degree required for an animation job? No.
No, unless you're international, and whether meaning you're from outside the U.S., want to work here, you're from the U.S., you want to work in another country, a degree makes it a lot easier to get a work visa.
Mm-hmm. So
certain work visas require a degree. So that's the issue. So it's not that studios care. Studios just look at your work.
Mm-hmm.
But the government, on the other hand,
right,
is different. So like an O1 visa, you don't need a degree because an O1 is just based on like, industry experience. So like if somebody has won the Nobel Peace Prize or has an Academy Award or, then they're able to get a work visa, even though they might not have a degree. And so in our industry, I know a lot of people who have O1 visas.
Yeah. But
those are hard to get if you're a junior.
Yeah. You usually have to have like publishing, like you have to have been published in a book. You have to have certain amounts of credits or types of credits.
Be a judge of a contest. That's a big one
Yeah.
that they like.
Yeah, for sure. But it's possible. I don't know how I'm going to make this cape. I don't really like his legs right now, but I'll deal with those later. What are we sculpting over here?
Just gonna get the basics of this platform blocked out and then textured in Mixer.
Nice.
Yeah, that's I think the idea. So it's not gonna look very exciting until I get over to Mixer, though.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of the build up for that. I think if I duplicate this body, so duplicate the body, I'm going to make it this color, all this color. I'm just going to block out this shape. I'm going to deflate it just a little bit, so it's all inside, and then I'll start drawing where it will go. I think I'm going to use, yeah, I will. I'm going to use this darker color for this helmet mask. Hello from Russia. Hello from Los Angeles. Welcome to the stream. Question from Twitch. Is it likely for Gnomon graduates, that is an international student, to find a job in the country and stay in the U.S. after a four-year BFA? That's kind of what we were just talking about. Yes, it's definitely possible. There's been a lot of... Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a degree student, like I was saying, it makes it a lot easier to get a job in the States. And so, as you know, our placement's super high. So over whatever, 95%, 97%, it changes from year to year, but it's always around there. And that includes the international students. And so, because our placements department, like if you, let's say, aren't a degree student, we'll also place people outside of LA. So we've placed people in other countries as well, because there's studios all over the place. It's LA, Vancouver, Montreal, London, Sydney, Melbourne. There's a lot of sort of like hotspots for the industry. And a lot of studios now have outposts all over the place. Like ILM has ILM London, ILM Singapore, ILM San Francisco, obviously, which is the original.
So yeah, certainly possible.
Luckily, all of those, are cool cities. So
yeah,
that's the thing, is that, while a lot of people might want to work in LA, the reality is that all of those other cities that I listed are all pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a matter of weather. Montreal is cold.
Yeah. Hey, from Middle Earth, New Zealand. Don't forget Weta, somebody says.
Weta, of course. definitely known a few people who've made the trek down there. Crystal's down there. Crystal Sayu, Gnomon grad. She seems to be really digging it.
Yeah. Kihas is still there. He's been there for like a decade.
Yeah, I had drinks with him when I went down there a few years ago.
That's awesome. Let's see. Hello from Mexico. Hello. Welcome. Colleges in your country are kind of bad, so spending money for a degree is kind of like wasting money. It's unfortunate. Hello from Sydney. Hello.
Yeah, I wouldn't get a degree like just to get a degree. Like I wouldn't.
Yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't go to a bad school just because you think you need to go and get a degree. It's still much smarter to focus on quality.
Danny Rayner from YouTube says most anatomy portrayed 2D and 3D is defined by musculature, but did you ever learn parts of skin that rest on top of it for a more realistic look?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's where figure drawing or sculpture from life is important, because I think, like, for me, growing up being interested in like superheroes, superheroes have like the 0% body fat, and I think that it's like this interest to focus on the muscles, because it's fun to like draw a superhero that's just got that look to it. But the reality is that that's not a very natural portrayal, and I think when you look at professional character or creature designers like Carlos Fuente, you'll notice that like his designs have body fat, have whether it's the body fat, whether it's the hanging skin, whatever it is that's on there aside from just muscles. So I think it's very important to study everything from like the skeleton up.
Trying to decide how I want to do this cape. I want to try to use the dynamics part of it, to like sim it or something, and see how that goes. Just trying to figure out what the best way to get that piece would be. Maybe I'll just take this. I'll extract this piece. Sure, it's great, except
Sam asks if there's ever been consideration of having a fully functioning online school to run along with campus. Well, obviously for the last 18 months, we were a fully online school because of COVID. But now that campus is reopened, then we're back on campus. And there's no interest in being a fully online school. So, we have online courses, which are fine, like taking individual courses online. But as far as programs, like degree or our 2-year program, like that stuff, that'll stay on campus.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really, really important for people to be in person.
Well, it's simulating. It's not doing at all what I wanted. It's creating some interesting wrinkles, but it's not going down. It's just like inflating it. Strength, maybe turn this off. Recalculate. Nope. Gravity run. Oh, that's working a little bit. Let's just get this to be this shape. Crank this up. Let's even... Okay. That was weird. Let's get this up here. Let's try to drape it across this thing. Keep what we want. We'll throw away what we don't.
Blossom just asked if we've participated in the Punisher challenges. I haven't. I see the stuff that he does on YouTube, and they look cool. It's a lot of entries, and people do some pretty amazing stuff. Pixel Ventures taking a break from Embergen and Houdini. Awesome. Yeah, Houdini 19, that video was crazy. Like somebody mentioned it on stream last week, and then I watched it.
Oh, yeah.
And, oh man, so many cool features in there.
Yeah, super cool stuff. we have any Houdini episodes coming up? Not currently planned, no. I certainly do not know Houdini. But it seems awesome.
Yeah, I think we've talked about maybe having some effects streams.
Mm-hmm.
Which wouldn't be Josh or I, because neither of us really are effects artists.
Yeah.
But obviously we have lots of effects artists as far as instructors and alum. And so I think getting a stream for that going is something that we'd like to do. Not sure when that'll start, though.
Right. Do I see you putting it back in Maya, or what are we doing over here?
Back in Maya, just let me get this over to Mixer.
Ah.
I just like to use Maya as the middleman.
Mm-hmm.
Just to check UVs and stuff.
Right, make sure it's all good.
Yeah. So weird, on this computer I still have that thing in ZBrush where my options for export are gone.
Oh, weird. It's just on that computer?
No. So weird. But hopefully that's not an issue.
Pixel Venture from Twitch says, curious, what do you guys think of the whole metaverse thing? I saw the rumors that Facebook might change their name to not be Facebook anymore and to be officially maybe an umbrella company or owned by like Facebook would just be part of an umbrella company.
Really?
And that they would be retargeting their whole company to be metaverse focused. Or that overall company would be targeted on metaverse.
Interesting. Not surprised.
Yeah. I think the idea of the metaverse is very interesting. I don't entirely know what it would be like or what it could be like, but I generally find the whole thing pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what it is. I mean, if you've read from, Neuromancer to Snow Crash to Ready Player One, like, the whole idea of some virtual world where we all hang out and spend our time has been around for decades.
Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden there's a word for it that everybody loves to use, but it doesn't change the fact that things progress slowly. So if you look at Second Life, like Second Life was definitely that kind of thing.
Totally.
And but I think to be able to create 3D worlds where people can all congregate and do stuff together, well, Second Life had a lot of issues, graphics being a big one. And so now the hope, as engines get more powerful, that these alternate universes that are online will be cool, but like it's very hard to envision what they're really going to be like. So because whether it's Epic or Facebook or Nvidia with the Omniverse, so many companies want to capitalize on it, but I don't think anybody knows exactly what it is. The idea is that, are they all going to play together? Well,
right.
Is there going to be one universe, one metaverse? And that's, I think, what Nvidia is trying to suggest, is that like their Omniverse tool set will allow some kind of like standards. But I think that there's always new stuff coming.
Yeah.
But the whole like Ready Player One, where like one company is able to dominate the entire space, and like the entire population of the planet is in that one single universe. I think there's going to be a lot of companies trying to own that space. So it'll be fascinating to see what happens. But I think for a long time they were using virtual reality was the word.
Yes.
And then virtual reality kind of became dated. And now we associate VR with like, Oculus and Vive and that stuff. And so I think they're trying to separate like headsets from like the concept of like a larger world.
Yeah, that it's not specifically hardware related.
Yeah. All right, I don't know about this track right now.
I had a feeling that was
making me
coming.
nervous. Thank you.
Feel a little better here. I'm gonna switch it to lo-fi for a little while.
Okay, that sounds good.
Is it loud to you, or is it
No.
is it quiet to you? Okay.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Danny Rayner from YouTube asked, do you guys get so overstimulated by the artistic expression / culture around you that you want to stare at a blank wall to detox? Not a blank wall. No. Definitely like going outside, being in nature, which is maybe a similar thing to what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's going outside. not spending all your time in front of a computer. So, but I don't know. There's so many things that I'm interested in beyond sitting in front of the computer, which could be sitting in front of the TV, like watching movies, watching shows, reading graphic novels, going outside. But it can be overwhelming. Like sometimes I just, uninstall Instagram and Facebook and Reddit and all that stuff from my phone just because, and like the ArtStation app, where like I just don't want to look at other people's art for a while because I can find it to be distracting. Like back in the day, you would sometimes look at other people's art. Now it's endless.
Yeah, now you're almost forced to.
Ryan's asking about a routine of work and exercise. I'm definitely somebody that needs to get exercise out of the way in the morning. I really don't like spending the day thinking that that's ahead of me. So my routine is really to try and wake up and get straight on the treadmill or go to the reservoir, which is the Silver Lake Reservoir, and do laps there and just get that over with so that like by the time I'm at the computer, like that's done. But like, Liz, she does that stuff like later in the day.
Sure.
But it's not my favorite part of the day. Like some people love working out and exercising. I don't really. So that's why I kind of need to get it over with. And it definitely helps wake me up. That's another thing. Like if I'm kind of groggy in the morning, I know for a fact that if I go like on the treadmill for 45 minutes and watch a show, like I've been watching that the Movies That Made Us on Netflix, which is awesome. And like 45 minutes on the treadmill watching something like that, like I know that when that's done, I am wide awake and kind of like ready to start the day. So that's another reason I like doing it early, because it wakes me up.
Yeah. I always find it hard to get into a routine of it, and I was in it for a little while and I haven't been able to get back in one for a couple months, so I like doing it during the day personally, either after work or during lunch.
Yeah, I have a feeling lunch is probably a really common time that people do it.
Yeah, I used to go into Gold's, which is in the same campus or same lot as Gnomon, and it was always packed at lunch. It's a cool stone texture. The little cracks are cool.
I'm just going to experiment with a few until I hit one. I know I saw some cave ones that were actually pretty cool in here. For cave walls, but I might use one of those for floor. There it is, mine rock, coal mine. And that's a 2x2.
I do like how easy it is to see the displacement in Mixer of what it's making.
Yeah, I just need to make sure you've got enough polys on your mesh, because it'll only subdivide up to a maximum of 10, which if this was just like one polygon.
Right.
So that's why, it's a little heavier than it needs to be, but for displacements, it kind of needs to be. What have I said? The GPU tessellation. So let's see, 4, 3 seems to be enough. But that obviously is displacing too much. So displacement strength, I'm just going to lower down. Ryan, I do not know the answer to that, so I would suggest contacting admissions, and they're going to be much more likely to have a good answer for you on that one. So, off the top of my head, I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I can think of a couple grads who were in the military, but I don't know if they used their GI Bill. Ooh, yeah, let's try the cloth brushes. Oh, that made a very different shape than I expected. It just like moved it and did like this weird shape.
Huh. That actually looks kind of cool though.
It's kind of interesting. I was like, huh. Okay. It's not what I wanted at all, but okay. There's definitely something going on with this, because every time I touch this thing it goes crazy, which means it's time to save. Okay. There's something about like the bounding box that I haven't been able to figure out. Okay, Okay, so that was the inflate. It's like it's seeing it, but as soon as I touch it, it's doing something very weird. It's like it's projecting to everything else.
CCZ Rua just asked if now that campus is reopened, can BFA students still get a workstation to use at home? No. That was just for COVID when everybody was at home. But now that we're back on campus, then all the workstations are back on campus.
Did we happen to watch the Netflix anime called Blue Period? Is about a boy in high school who decides to pursue art. The manga is beautiful. No, I've not heard about it. Sounds cool though.
Griffin and I finally watched all of Neon Genesis Evangelion. Pretty crazy.
I've never seen it.
Oh no? It's we haven't seen the movie yet because like there was a series and then they made a movie, so we finished the series. Now we have to watch the movie. It's cool. Yeah. It's weird,
right?
But it's pretty neat. I definitely recommend checking it out. I mean, it's inspired a lot of mech and robot designs over the years. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Have you watched any of those Neil Blomkamp shorts that popped up on Netflix?
No, they kind of disappeared off the front page so quick. I didn't notice them anymore.
Yeah, they're in there.
Yeah, I haven't seen them.
We watched like 2 or 3 of them, and they were pretty cool.
Were they all kind of robot-y, post-apocalyptic things, or?
Not. I mean, the first one is the one with Sigourney Weaver, and then they kind of go in different directions. But I mean, that's kind of like a general theme, I guess, for sure.
Sure. Yeah. What was the last big movie you did? Elysium?
The last what?
Big movie that he did.
Wasn't Chappie after Elysium?
Oh, I don't know the order. Yeah, one or the other.
Yeah, I think Chappie came after, and then Chappie didn't do so well. So,
right.
Yeah, Chappie was kind of weird.
Yeah, not my fave.
Not my favorite either.
Cowboy Bebop is supposed to be the Ash Blossom on Twitch is saying it should be incredible. So unique, all 24 episodes were directed by a different person. So they had 24 different directors? That's interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like, I like the idea of that, but that feels like it'd be really hard to get like a consistent like vibe of your show. Pixel Venture says, what I'm trying to figure out is how James Cameron filmed 4 Avatar sequels at the same time. Yeah, that's a good call. That one I'm super curious about.
You're basically just making a 8-hour movie.
Yeah, if you think of it in one way, that's just like one season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's true. But that is a good way to look at it.
Just kind of doing it all at once.
When's the last time I saved? Too long.
Long enough that it's time to.
Yeah, I think the software kind of like froze for a second.
Oh yeah, you're like, oh shit. Oh no.
Figure out how. Is the Gnomon store open? It is. It is open again. Are there sculpts that you can get? Not in the store. It's pretty much mostly books and art supplies. We have had the anatomy tools crochet sculpt, the one that everybody seems to have, which is awesome. We've had that in the store, and as well as like another vendor that has like a sort of a cheaper version of it. I forget where that one was from.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. The gray ones, like the smaller gray ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely looking forward. As much as I'm looking forward to the Avatar sequels, I'm looking more forward to the behind the scenes in its own way. Just to see how it's all been done. Just the scale of the production, it must be insane.
Yes, I'm sure they will be amazing. I mean, what James Cameron movie has not been? I mean, that dude is pretty consistent. So even though it's weird that they're making so many, I'm sure it'll be pretty cool. It's crazy how much time he's dedicated to that universe, because he started working on that in like 2004.
Okay.
So, it's a long time that he's been developing that.
Yeah, it's a significant amount of time to invest in one universe. This song I have heard many times on this playlist.
You can skip it. Yeah, this lo-fi mix is hit or miss.
Yeah. Do you want fantasy, synthwave, or cyberpunk?
I mean, I do like the fantasy one.
I will go back to the fantasy one. Oh, I can't handle that one. Here we go.
Yes, that's not the one we do on the battle.
Yeah. Maybe I'll put a little blue tint on it. The old Batman. So I want to go here, here, here. So it's a little hard to see. That's the thing I don't like about if you try to make something black in ZBrush, especially with a matte cap, it's basically just like invisible.
Yeah.
Like, you can't see any detail on it. So it's always like this 70-60% gray. Did I use ZBrush? The sculpt is looking amazing. Thank you very much. Did I use ZBrush's cloth dynamic simulations for the cape, or did I sculpt it? I did actually use it for the cape, for this area here. And then it's actually two pieces, so I haven't merged it. But this piece here, I also simmed on the back of it. This piece up top, which is this piece here, is just a duplicate of the torso that I had made. And so that I'll eventually probably merge them into one thing, but they're just pretending to be. They're one subtool, so I can take the cape off if I need to. I don't think I ever really would, but if I needed to, I could. And then this is the cape that's on top. do a couple more details on the suit itself, and then we're almost out of time. We only got 15 more minutes.
That's weird.
Yeah. Looks like you're browsing through materials. Find anything good?
It's endless.
Anything that's working for you? There's so many options, actually. Maybe that's one of the downsides. You can just... There's so many
It's pretty
choices.
cool, though. But yeah, you can definitely
sure.
go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, to where you're like, oh, I like all of these. Let's give this a little... I feel like I should find a way to break this into two tones, like two materials. So we'll take this one, and then we'll go fully desaturated and slightly darker, and see what this looks like. Oh, I just don't like that color. Maybe just that, but more saturated and darker. Too saturated. That'll be fine. So who's winning? There's no winning. It's just a jam. Not like a contest jam.
Remember at THU when they would have those
the art battles?
Art battles? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
what are you doing there with those things? Oh, sorry to interrupt. I was curious what you're doing with those tiles. It's like the color that's on there. Oh, is that just a shadow? Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm just getting this stone block texture to just not be on the top, but be on the bottom using a positional gradient.
Oh.
So yeah, all the masking in here is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I remember when I went, I don't think they had the art battles in the same way that they did in the earlier years, from what I recall. It seemed cool though. I remember seeing people post about them.
Yeah, the year that I went, like they would start at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So like day would start at 9 a.m. with talks, and then there would just be talks all day until like 7 or 8, and then there would be like a break, and then midnight the art battles would start. And after like a couple days of that, I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to be up till 3 or 4 in the morning, I am not going to make it to the morning
to the
talks.
9 a.m. Yeah.
So I just realized, okay, I'm just going to not wake up early, and I need to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Noon it is, yeah. Whatever the second talk is, that's what I'm interested in at that point.
entrance, source images, in a folder.
What have you guys been learning recently? Well, I'd say in the past several months, both of us learned Unreal.
Yep.
That's probably the biggest one.
That's what I'm focused on, is just trying to get comfortable with Unreal.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm building this little environment that I've been doing over the last few streams. Comfortable with pipeline between Maya, ZBrush, Unreal, and materials, and Mixer, and ray tracing, which I'm finally using in Unreal.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to replace this dude. So you can go away and import mesh, import pathway entrance. That's all fine. Where'd you go? There you are. There you go. And now to get that material on it. All right, displacement material. Make material instance, mi underscore pathway entrance. Move you to there.
Sort of reminds me of the Doctor Who theme song.
Okay, source images. Pathway entrance. UE4, yep, still on UE4. Yep, I'm getting a texture warning, streaming dot pool size. Let's see, 4,000. Get my textures back. Alex, thank you for saying that. It's progressing slowly.
It's getting there.
Where is Gnomon at when it comes to virtual production? We've got some new classes in development that'll start next term for that. And me and the education department are all going to Epic tomorrow. Tomorrow morning to check out the new LED volume in El Segundo, so that should be really cool. So we are definitely down the virtual production rabbit hole.
Oh yeah. Oh, just posted it in the chat, but we have an awesome stream coming this Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time with an instructor spotlight. I think it's texturing and shading for games, but CG supervisor from Cloud Imperium Games on Star Citizen and Squadron 42, Forrest Steffen, will be there. So check that out. He's amazing. I worked with him. So he's an awesome instructor. Get to know one of Gnomon's instructors. That's again Friday at 11 a.m. You can check that out on our socials or register or RSVP on Eventbrite. Should also be a link in the chat in case you want to sign up that way. But definitely check that one out. I'm going to save because it is 5:59.
Weird.
I'm going to move us to this view. Now that we're both basically done, or at least done for today.
Yeah, your Batman looks amazing.
He looks like a Batman, so I feel pretty decent about that. It's always like when you try to do a character that everybody knows and you try to make it, and you're like, sometimes it just doesn't go as planned. So I'm happy it at least resembles and looks like the character.
Very cool. Well,
all right, everybody. Yeah, looks good. I like your scene. I'm looking forward to seeing it all done with it, especially the big building you're building.
Yeah, I think that's something that I'm going to think about because for this, I need to sort of design it out, probably do a paint over and do that off stream so I can know what I'm doing before I go into ZBrush.
Right, that makes sense.
But cool.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining the stream. We'll be here again next Wednesday from 4 to 6 Pacific time, so come say hey. And we'll be here streaming and making some art on Art Jam. And again, check out that stream this Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time to check out one of our instructor spotlights. Otherwise, we'll see you guys soon. And thanks again. Have a good day.
Later.